Our learning objective today for lesson 2, the big one, is introducing eighth notes. So learning about eighth notes. In the first lesson we learned about quarter notes. That's a rhythm value.
Yeah.
We're going to go on and take that even further.
Okay.
We're also going to look at different ways of playing those eighth notes. So that means right hand technique, introducing alternating, using different fingering, using different fingers. We're also going to look in today's lesson at use of a plectrum or a pick.
We haven't seen one of these yet here.
That'll be in the second half of today's lesson, and we'll be talking about downstrokes and upstrokes.
Okay.
Are there any other objectives? Did I miss one?
No, I think you've covered it all.
Good.
Okay, first of all, there's a lot to get through.
Let's get going.
Eighth notes.
Eighth notes, yeah. In lesson 1 we looked at quarter notes, and we talked about music being divided into bars, and those bars being subdivided. So we're taking that one stage further in lesson 2. Instead of 4 subdivisions, instead of the bar being divided into 4 equal pieces, 4 quarters, we're going to divide those in half, and we're going to get a total of 8 notes in a bar.
Hence calling them eighth notes.
We're good at this. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
Okay, so putting a little and in the gaps.
Yeah, so subdividing each quarter note in half. So if we look at the Gigajam material there, you can see the notation here. Maybe I can point to it on the screen. There it is.
I'll point to it on this screen.
Thank you very much. And you can see the bass clef and the time signature of 4/4, the repeat bar and the common time signature. This is an A note because it's written in the bottom space of the bass clef, so there's no new notes to worry about.
Right.
Just new rhythms. And the first bar is 4 quarter notes, which is what we played before, which goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And the second bar, as you can see, looks very different.
Yeah.
And that's because it's got these eighth notes now. There are 8 of them if you count them up.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well done, you can count to 8. And rather than numbering them through 8, we keep the 1, 2, 3, 4 in their pre-existing locations. We don't move those 1, 2, 3s and 4s. We just kind of subdivide them. So it's sort of like 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. Or as musicians would say, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the ands are represented by a little cross.
All right.
So instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, I'd count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you've got that kind of alternating rocking rhythm. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And just, we should point out the difference in how they look.
Absolutely, yeah, good point. The first bar looks familiar to us because we saw it in lesson 1 as 4 A quarter notes, and there they are. The second bar looks different because we've still got the little blobs, but we've got 2 tails, and the 2 notes are joined with this, what we call a beam across the top. So they're in pairs.
Yeah.
And those pairs represent, each pair represents 1 beat.
Okay.
Good.
Sounds clear so far.
So that's introducing eighth notes. Any questions about eighth notes, you call?
I think I'm all right.
Good.
I know how they look. I want to hear how they sound.
Exactly, yeah, the very next thing. So I shall grab my bass and I shall just demonstrate this first example. It's not really an exercise. We haven't got any media files to support it, so I'll do that now live. So instead of just playing 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's try that again. The first bar goes 1, 2, 3, and the second bar goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's quite a lot of hard work. Perhaps if you grab your bass.
I will.
And you try and do that.
Which note would you like to play these on?
These are on an A, so we use the open A string.
Yeah.
Which is the 3rd string, not the thickest string, the next one up.
Yeah,
okay.
This one here,
yep.
Open string, so I'll just support the neck of the bass. I don't really need to touch anything.
That's right, you can just concentrate on your right hand, all your energy going there. So the first bar should be easy enough because you did that in the first lesson.
So
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's okay. If you've got to do the second bar, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and if you look at how I'm doing it, I'm not just using one finger because that finger is going to be very busy. So what bass players do is they've developed this technique of alternate picking or alternate fingering using 2 fingers. So rather than having one finger doing 100% of the work, where it has to work real hard, we use the first 2 fingers and they share the workload. So instead of going, right, I've got this kind of technique where I'm playing So I'm still resting my thumb on the pickup or on the string, and then alternating my first and second fingers. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And have you got a question? Or?
I've got a question, being this being my first finger, my pointing finger.
Absolutely, your index finger. Very good.
That is the first one. Do you call this plucking?
Yes.
This is the first one that I'm plucking with, and then the and of each of these notes is with the middle finger or
the middle
second finger.
Very good. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to try just doing quarter notes.
I'll play with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Now we'll change over to eighth notes. 1 and 2 and very good, Nancy. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and yeah.
It's almost like your fingers are running, aren't they? They're sort of running on the spot.
That's a good analogy. Yeah. It's just getting that flow, as you talk about. It's a good analogy because, you know, in the walking thing, you don't really think about walking, you just go. And so you need to practice this over and over and over, and obviously the Gigajam exercises here will help you to do that so that it becomes almost natural reflex, you know, second nature.
All right, well, let's have a look. We've got exercise 1, which is literally what we've been doing there.
Very good.
So if I open the video icon, we can
watch
see
somebody else doing it.
how it should look.
Yeah.
Not that we weren't doing it right.
We were doing it very well, yeah. It's very good. So here comes the video clip. So look at the
speed.
Yeah, look at the right hand. And unless you look really closely, it's difficult to see that there's been any change.
Yeah.
It's so smooth and natural and economical. There's no real, you know, evidence of a lot of effort. But of course, when you do it, as you know, it actually is taking up quite a lot of your megabytes here.
Exactly. There's a lot of concentration going on there. Well, let's play along with the extractor.
So this is exercise 1, and it's only on A, and it's all about right hand technique, alternating these first 2 fingers of our right hand. The first bar is quarter notes, and the second bar is eighth notes. So exactly what we've been doing, but now we're doing it with the extractor.
Okay. So that's the middle icon there, opening up the extractor.
Good, thank you. And I'll get ready to play the exercise.
Mentally and physically prepare yourself to...
Cosmically. And it's just the open A string, no new notes to worry about, just a new rhythm, quarter notes in the first bar, and eighth notes in the second bar, and concentrating especially on the right hand and alternating these 2 fingers. 1, 2, 1.
So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1,
1 and 2. And, yeah.
Here we go.
I'm ready.
This is our eighth notes and our quarters. And is this the way that I would be playing eighth notes at all times?
Yeah, you should probably rest your thumb on the pickup.
Yeah.
There you go. And it's what you were saying earlier, that we don't get long in these lessons. So you should take a lot of time at home to practice this. Because it needs to become automatic.
Right.
You said earlier about walking.
Yeah.
So we don't think about walking, we just do it. So we need to condition this over a long period of time so that it becomes automatic. We don't have to worry about it, because there'll be other things like other notes in the left hand to play, so we need to save our energy for those.
All right, that's
so
the important thing. This, we don't need to be worrying about this. We want to get this natural, smooth.
Yeah, automatic pilot.
Just like breathing.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, very good. So that was exercise 1, and that's just alternating 1, the first finger, and 2, the second finger, playing eighth notes, quarter notes and eighth notes. The next exercise is exactly the same thing, except instead of going 1, 2, we're going to go 2, 1. So it's the same notes, same rhythm, same bars. First bar is quarter notes, second bar is eighth notes. But instead of playing 1, 2, you're going to have to play 2, 1.
Okay.
You fancy that?
Why is that?
Just to improve our control and technique. So at the moment we're just playing these exercises, but as we progress through the Gigajam lessons, there'll be all sorts of other exercises to play. We need to get ready to make sure our technique is there for us, so that we can deliver whatever's expected of us.
Yeah, there might be a cause at one point where we'll need to lead in with the second finger as opposed to the first.
So let's try the second exercise, which is exactly the same. Open A string, quarter notes and eighth notes, but the fingering is now different. It's still alternating, but we're just leading with the second finger this time.
All right then, give us an example.
Here it comes.
So starting with the quarter notes, which we know, and then
And leading with the second
bar.
finger.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
And there are other numbers going on, which are 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, you're almost like doing 2 counts in your head, aren't you?
Yeah, there's a lot of information going on, so you need to concentrate, you need to go through it plenty of times, record it, analyse it.